all aware that before he was president, Donald Trump was a reality TV show star. One could even argue that his fame helped him pave his way to politics. Now, one of his producers from that time is free from his non-disclosure agreement and has decided to spill the tea. Fun. Former The Apprentice producer Bill Pruitt recently did a tell-all for Slate and confirmed some stuff that we already knew. You know, like the rampant racism and sexism. In fact, in one incident, Trump ordered a female camera operator off the set after complaining that she was, quote unquote, too heavy. Too heavy. Like, what does that matter? Like, that's like your opinion, man. But no, apparently, the existence of a large woman offended Trump. He had to get her off the set. Couldn't even look at her. Even she was behind the camera. Couldn't even look at her. Take note, MAGA ladies. If you are not thin and blonde, he doesn't want you near him. Pruitt then added, he would also make comments he would find funny or amusing, some of them misogynistic as well as racist. We cut those comments to go to one of his rallies today, and you can hear many of them. Well, there you go. Now, speaking of one of the racist comments, one example was actually towards a contestant, Kwame Jackson, who was in the first season of The Apprentice. Now, Trump had asked basically flat out, as they were having a discussion about whether he should win, quote, would America buy a N-word winning? And he said the word straight out. And there are tapes, by the way. There are tapes, which are not surprising, okay, of him being, you know, saying the N-word, being incredibly racist. Now, Pruitt also addresses some other things like Trump's rambling, right? His inability to speak off the cuff or even remember people's names. Pruitt wrote that back in the day, Trump was actually overwhelmed when it came to the on-set dialogue of that show, The Apprentice. In fact, he said, without a doubt, the hardest decisions we face in post-production were how to edit together sequences involving Trump. We needed him to sound sharp, dignified, and clear on what he was looking for, and not as if he was yelling at people. He wrote before adding, while filming, he struggled to convey even the most basic items. Despite the editing, it is easy to hear today. You will notice clearly altered dialogue from Trump in both the task delivery and in the boardroom. Yeah, of course, of course. My favorite part about all this is we needed him to sound sharp, and the only way that we could do that is through a massive amount of editing, post-production. Oh, awesome. Now, Pruitt further explained that Trump was overwhelmed with remembering the contestants' names, the way they would ride the elevator back upstairs or down to the street, the mechanics of what he needed to convey. Showrunner Jay Beanstalk instigated additional dialogue recording that came late in the edit phase. We set Trump up in the soundproof boardroom set and fed him lines that he would read into a microphone with Beanstalk on the phone, directing from LA. And suddenly, through the magic of editing, Trump knows the names of every one of the contestants and says them while the camera cuts to each one of their faces. Listen now, and he speaks directly to what needs to happen while the camera conveniently cuts away to the contestants, who are listening and nodding. He sounds articulate and concise through some editing sleight of hand. I love it. Okay, so here's the thing, though. I have issues with remembering some people's names, especially people that I just met. Fair. That's fair. I mess up on words. You hear it. I get tongue-tied. All of this is absolutely normal. It happens. Whatever. The problem is, right? The problem is when you refuse to admit your faults and do projection. So, look, as a politician, he's running against Joe Biden, okay? He says Joe Biden is incoherent and can't even put two sentences together. Says Biden can't remember anything. Seems like projection to me. Seems like Donald Trump is speaking from his own experiences. I mean, come on.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
That was from this so-called cognitive test, which is really just like a dementia test, okay, to make sure that his brain actually functions. He's like, that's a whale. Yeah, I got to point that out. I aced it, though. It was a very difficult test, but I absolutely paced. You know why?
I'm cognitively there.
I aced it. Aced it. No, the gaslighting and the projection. That's what bothers me about this entire thing. Okay, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump are old. Okay, let's be honest about that, right? So it's only natural that voters would want to question whether or not they're actually able to do the job. I understand that, and I've said it before. I don't believe Joe Biden is as sharp as he used to be. It's not a dig. That's not saying, oh, you should vote for Trump. No, it's just a reality of the situation, right? And I remember back in 2012 watching him wipe the floor with Paul Ryan during the vice presidential debates. He was incredibly sharp. He was on top of it. Whereas in the 2020 debates, he wasn't quite there. He had less energy. And look, let's be honest. I think a lot of the stress of the presidency ages people. I mean, do you guys remember President Obama going gray within 8 years? Okay. A lot of stress, a lot of pressure, right? That said, we did also see a energetic Joe Biden during the State of the Union. So certainly it is possible that he can deliver and he can be energetic when he needs to be and all that. That said, all the stuff about this mental fitness coming from Donald Trump specifically, everything here just shows me that it's projection from him to the nth degree. And I just have a problem with that.